When I was a sophomore in high school, my friend called me and he said, "Hey Parker, we want you to come out and play football." I never played before, but he convinced me, and my mom took me to go get pads. And I played my sophomore year, and it was okay. When I went back for my junior year, I really wasn't sure I wanted to play. And about halfway through 2 days, I said, you know, I'm not sure if I want to go back. And my mom said, okay. And she kind of listened. And she said, let's go to a movie tonight. And does anybody remember the movie The Replacements? Kind of corny ass movie with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman. Somehow, at an impressionable 16 years old, that movie hit me where I was like, I'm going to go back and play football. And that's what it was. And I gained the motivation. I went back for my junior year, and our team went 0-10. And I said, this is a good decision. I'm going to keep going back. And I played my senior year. And we got a new coach. And although I had started kind of the preseason playing defensive back and playing safety, he had moved me to kind of an outside linebacker, almost like a defensive end position. Anybody who's known me for more than a day, you know that I've looked like this my entire life. And there's nothing that reads defensive end or linebacker about this body. And I kind of held my own for the first couple of games, and then in the fourth game, I was extremely terrified. I was scared. I was terrified. And I didn't believe in myself that I could do what I was supposed to do in the game, and I was absolutely manhandled. And I want to read to you what had happened in that. This is the following week after our game on Friday. As we started practice on Monday afternoon, I was still part of the first team defense, but the next day, Tuesday, was a day that would change my life forever. An exchange happened that I'll never forget. Our defense was practicing different formations against an offensive group that was simulating our next opponent, Richard Montgomery High School. I was playing outside linebacker and was going against one of our tight ends. The quarterback hiked the ball and handed it off to the running back, who started running towards my outside shoulder. The tight end tried to hook me, but I kept my outside shoulder free and stayed out of his reach, moving down the line of scrimmage and forcing the running back inside. "Do it again!" Coach Miller screamed. The offense ran the play again. Again, I contained the run to the inside, as was my primary responsibility. "That's it. I'm not doing it anymore." We all looked at Coach Miller, having no idea what he meant until he pointed at me directly. He said, "Parker, I've had it. I'm not playing you in games anymore. Every week you come out here and you show that you can do it in practice, you get in games and you choke. You're a fucking practice player, and I'm not going to have it anymore." He threw down his clipboard and stomped off and talked to the other assistant coaches. I stood there utterly stunned. My teammates stared at me. I felt worthless. I had just been called a practice player in front of the entire team. I had just been called out for being a failure. Coach Miller stuck to his word too. I didn't play the game the following week, and in the game against our biggest rival, I played only 3 downs, replacing a briefly injured teammate. That hurt. It hurt a lot. So when I went to Ohio State and I joined the Air Force ROTC, I got selected for a summer program called Free Fall at the Air Force Academy. And every ROTC program could send 1 cadet. And the important reason why I bring that up is because this is the first freshman class after 9/11. So everybody is trying to fight. Everybody's trying to join. We had 122 freshman cadets in Air Force ROTC, and I was the one that got selected to go to the summer program. So I go through the training just like everybody else, about 36 hours of ground training before they put us in the plane. This is the only school in the United States of America where you can jump out solo as a free fall jump your first time. So there I am in the plane, and I jump out the first time, and I pull my ripcord, my canopy comes out, and I get to the ground. And then I do it again a second time, the same day, and then I do it a third time, the same day. Imagine, if anybody in here is skydive, the amount of adrenaline it takes to do one jump. And then imagine a second one, and then imagine a third one. being 19 years old, I was drained. I get in the door on the third jump out of the UV-18B, the Twin Otter aircraft. I have my right hand inside and my right foot inside, and my left hand is outside, and I have the propeller blowing 100-mile-an-hour air in my face at 5,000 feet above ground level. If you watch the video, I'm kind of hunched over. I have a really bad body position. I get in the door, I check in, I check out, I come out, and I immediately start to flip. The training kicked in. I arched my body, was able to pull my ripcord on time, belly to earth, so everything was safe. I had no problems. I get down to the ground. We go in the video room because they had telescopic video cameras. The jump master looks at me and he says, "Parker, you flipped. That's a fail." And I said, "But I know I flipped, but I did what you all told me. If you flip, you said arch your body. I arched my body. I landed belly to earth." He said, "No, if you flip, it's a fail." I tried to appeal to the head jump master. He said, "Parker, I have to respond. I have to respect that jump master's decision. He's in charge of the plane." I said, "Okay." Went through 3 hours of ground training that night. I'd already been exhausted from everything. When I was at dinner that night, I couldn't really focus on eating because I just focused on my failure. And I remember sitting at table with my friends Summer and Steph and Ryan and Dale. And I remember the one thing that I had to do was bring my arms down. If I could just bring my arms down, my body would level out and I'd go belly to earth, just like that, and be able to pull my ripcord. And I remember I was sitting there at dinner and I was just hitting my legs like this to bring my arms down, to just generate this muscle memory, and I started to build bruises into my legs because I was throwing my arms down so hard. And when we got done with dinner and went back to our rooms, I stood in the doorway of my small little tiny room I had, and I was just sitting there just practicing jumping out and throwing my arms down and throwing my hips forward as much as I could. And the thing was is that I just didn't believe myself. I didn't believe in myself. I wasn't confident. I didn't believe I could do it. And I wasn't sure that I could. The next morning, I had to go and do my fourth jump. One more failure and I went home. One more failure and I didn't get my parachutist badge. I didn't go back to those 121 other ROTC cadets who wanted to go to the program who couldn't, because I would go back and I would be a failure. I would have been a practice player. The only thing that was stopping me was me. I'm getting ready for my fourth jump at this point. It's about 5:30 in the morning, Colorado Springs, Colorado, in August of 2003. As I was about to step into one of the leg straps of the harness, the jump master for our flight walked in. He was wearing the signature blue U.S. Air Force parachute jumpsuit, team jumpsuit, but he was different than the other members of the team. He was short, stocky, and his grizzled face maintained a look that said that he was pissed off all the time. He was a senior master sergeant, just one grade away from being a chief master sergeant, the high enlisted rank in the Air Force. On his name patch, in addition to the master parachutist badge, he also had the HALO badge. HALO stands for High Altitude Low Opening. The set of wings represented mastery in high altitude low opening parachute jumps, and that meant one thing: he was Air Force Special Operations. And this man scared me. He wasn't relaxed and easygoing like the other jump masters. Staff Sergeant Thompson, our head jump master, was from Los Angeles and had an easy come, easy go kind of approach to life. Not this guy. He was all business, and he had to be. If you screwed around in special operations, people died, and not the bad guys. "Listen up," he barked. "Board calls. Everybody get crew rest. Anybody have alcohol?" He asked us, continuing down the line of mandatory questions posted across from us in the gear room. No one said anything. "Good. Follow me." The doors of the flight line swung open. We followed him up to the tarmac to load the plane. The sun had peeked over the horizon, allowing for full visibility on a perfectly clear, crisp morning. This is it, I thought. This is my last chance. We made a few passes for other jumpers before it was my turn. I was the second jumper on the pass, so the other cadet got the door first. I pulled down my goggles, which were fixed to my helmet, over my eyes and adjusted my My eyes widened, my mind went blank. I started to breathe more heavily as the jumper left the plane. A few seconds later, the senior master sergeant pointed at me, directing me with his finger to move closer to him. I inched down the bench until I was next to him, standing but bent over, leaning forward towards him. He grabbed me by the collar of my flight suit, harshly, and pulled me close to his face, no more than 4 inches away. I could see his wrinkles, which I'm sure were caused by dozens of direct combat missions throughout his career. Still holding onto my collar, he pointed up to my face, pointing directly at me. "Stand," he shouted as he shifted his finger to the fuselage. "In the door." In that instant, that hot August afternoon, it was that hot September afternoon from 2001 flashed before my eyes. That's it, I'm not doing it anymore. I could hear Coach Miller yelling at me, embarrassing me in front of my entire team. Every week you come out here and you show that you can do it in practice, but you get into games and you choke. You're a practice player. Practice player. I choked under pressure. I couldn't perform when it mattered, and here I was again, standing on a literal precipice in the sky, having failed my last jump. One more failure, and I was out. I looked at the senior master sergeant, his eyes leering at mine with his finger pointed at the open door. I was not a practice player. I would not fail. I had the training. I was prepared. I wanted to be there. I was motivated. I could do this. I must do this. I will do this. I was finally confident. "Check in," I yelled. "Check out," he yelled back. "Prop. Up, down, arch." I left the plane. I thrust my hips forward and I threw my arms down to my sides, slapping the outsides of my thighs with my hands. I arched my body as much as I could. I looked up the propeller, keeping my sight focused on the plane, now above me as I fell to help my body arch even more. 2,000, I yelled as I kept my arms at my side and my torso began to align with my hips and legs. 3,000, I yelled as I began to bring my arms away from my legs up to my side, and I was now belly to earth. I didn't flip, I did it, but I lost my count. When you lose your count, start your pull sequence. The training kicked in. Arch 1,000, look 1,000, pull 1,000. My canopy opened and filled with air. It was beautiful and rectangular. In the video room, the senior master sergeant started to review our videos. He put my cassette, VHS obviously, into the VCR. He pushed play. It ended about 2 seconds after my canopy initiated. The senior master sergeant didn't pause the video or once or say anything about the video as he played it. The only words he said to me afterwards were, "Nice jump." He rated my jump a level 3 and told me to manifest for my 5th and final jump. And after that 5th jump, my wings were pinned. And when I got home, I gave the first set of my wings to my grandfather, who immediately put them on, his Vietnam veteran hat, the same Star diner that he told you that I worked at. And as the server came up, he said, "You see these? These are my grandson's jumping wings. I'm very proud of them." And all it was, the only difference was confidence. I had the training and I was prepared. I wanted to be there, so I had the motivation. I was just missing the belief inside me that I could do it, that I had to believe. And I relate that to the student that Maureen had mentioned, my student Osvaldo. When I met him, he had his foot up, he was depressed, he had no energy. He couldn't play guitar because his fingers were just too big. He couldn't make the chords right. I said, "This is ridiculous. I can't put him in a position to fail." I gave him a bass guitar. I gave him my bass guitar, and I gave him my bass amplifier. He came back the next week and he had blood blisters on his fingers from playing so much. And I started to get emotional because I realized that we had touched this child in a way that hadn't been before. And he started to love it, and he started to grow, and he got better, and he was prepared, and he loved playing the bass, and he was motivated. In the first performance that he was going to do playing bass on this very stage in front of everybody, he told me he was nervous and he was anxious. And he had anxiety about his performance, so we talked about it. Did he know the music? Yes. So he had the preparation. Did he want to play? Yes. The only thing that was stopping him was himself. I said, "Can you do it?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "Say, I can do it." He said, "I can do it." I said, "And you can do it." He said, "I can do it." I said, "You can do it." "I can do it." And you started to see this confidence in him grow. And he gets up on the stage, and I was playing drums for him to help him keep the beat, and blew people away. His dad was sitting in the 3rd row right there with tears coming down his face because he watched his son do something incredible that he had never done before. He was motivated, he was prepared, and he was finally confident. Not overconfident, not arrogance, but confidence in knowing what he could do and that he could do more with time. And now Osvaldo is going to a summer program for a school, for Berkeley, for the School of Music, that he's going to be going to on a full scholarship because he believes in himself that he can do it. And that was what put him over the edge. He's going there because he believes he's going because he is great, but he's going to be even greater, and that's what this place does. And again, I can't describe the impact that Marie and the staff have on this place on underprivileged kids every day. Kids like my grandfather, when he was young, a boy who had nothing, who only thrived because of support from community organizations like this. And that's what I learned, and that's what Osvaldo learned. Perhaps in the book, maybe that's what you can learn too.